안녕하세요. Riding on the Korean wave. Welcome to Tuesday's edition of The Culture Wave. I'm Kwon-soa in Seoul. Explore with us Korea's culture from all aspects and stay up to date with K-entertainment, K-festivals, K-literature, K-everything. And we'll do all of that with our co-host Walter Lee joining me in the studio. Hello, Walter.
Hello, Soa, and happy Tuesday, everyone at home. I'm Walter Lee. I have the latest in K-enter news just for you, so stick around.
Walter, when was the last time that you went to a K-pop concert?
A K-pop concert?
Yes.
Now, I think I've seen a lot of K-pop sort of little concerts before, but the last time was probably back in 2013. Psy, that's when he was doing the What's Happening tour. How about you, Soa?
Oh, wow, that's a long time ago. Well, I remember seeing many K-pop stars at music festivals, but I can't really remember when I was at a K-pop concert just for one group, or I don't know. But, I mean, I'm glad that at Arirang we see K-pop stars all the time.
All the time.
But we also have a reporter, an Arirang news reporter, who just saw some amazing K-pop performances, but not here in Korea, but in a different country.
Right.
And we'll know that in our next report here. So over this past weekend in neighboring Japan, a major K-culture festival opened doors to fans, and our culture correspondent Song Yoo-jin was there to experience the event up close. Let's take a look.
The Makuhari-metse, Japan's second largest convention center, has been transformed into a K-pop arena. Fans scream, sing along, and wave neon-colored light sticks as their favorite artists take to the stage. The lineup features rising and top-tier acts like Kiki, QWER, Zero Base One, and Highlight. This is KCON Japan 2025.
So where I am right now is KCON Japan, one of the largest K-culture festivals in the world. Now here, you can experience almost everything you need to know about Korean culture.
Launched in Los Angeles in 2012, KCON has toured over 10 countries, growing from just 10,000 attendees to now more than 100,000 per event. KCON Japan, the festival's first Asian edition, has been held annually since 2015.
Japan isn't just a major music market, it's the biggest overseas consumer of K-content. We're seeing more top-tier artists like G-Dragon, 17, and Stray Kids performing here, which shows K-pop is no longer just a foreign genre. It's now part of Japan's mainstream culture.
Beyond the music, KCON offers hands-on experiences related to the broader Korean wave. Dozens of booths introduce the latest in K-beauty, food, dramas, and merchandise. But what truly sets KCON apart is how close fans can get to their favorite stars.
It was amazing, everything I'd hoped for. The fan service was incredible. They even blew hand kisses. It felt like we were close, like friends.
What really stood out was getting to see the artist up close when they visited the artist booths. Also, at the meet and greet, you could see them from a very close distance, something you don't normally get to experience.
Having wrapped up its 3-day run in Japan, KCON now prepares for its next stop, Los Angeles, this August. Song Yoo-jin, Arirang News, Chiba.
So KCON is not just about a K-concert. There are so many Korean wave elements that you can experience at this event. I noticed some famous K-food brands and beauty brands. So it's kind of like a 종합 선물 세트, how you'd say in Korean, like a whole Hallyu gift package.
It's really amazing that you remember when you and I were very young, nobody really even heard of Korea as a country. And now we have these K-cons that just represent Korea in such a positive way. And now it's all over the world. It's just fantastic to see.
It is. Now, also, as Eugene mentioned, KCON is going to be in LA in August. That's actually going to be August 1st to 3rd. And the K-pop lineup is being unveiled in separate announcements. The recent one just having been made yesterday. So what do we know so far?
Yes, so fans in LA can look forward to a wonderful lineup, which is a really good lineup actually. That includes aespa, NCT 127, Rise, Meow, and also MONSTA X.
And speaking of MONSTA X, I think that's also going to include a specific member that we're going to talk about now.
Oh, yes.
Because it is time for our daily dose of K-entertainment news with you, Walter.
It is.
So amazing news for MONSTA X fans because one of the members of the boy group just completed his mandatory military service.
He did indeed. Yes, MONSTA X's Hyungwon was officially discharged from the military on Tuesday after completing his 18 months of service at the Capital Mechanized Infantry Division in KCON. Now, he enlisted back in November 2023 and made headlines for earning an early promotion to corporal thanks to his exemplary service. Now, Hyungwon now becomes the 5th member of MONSTA X to complete military duties, and it's actually just in time to rejoin his other group members ahead of their 10th anniversary.
And also their concert in LA
Yes.
in August. Well, there's also an actor who just was released from the mandatory service on the same day.
Yes, on the same day. That's right. Actor Lee Do-hyun also wrapped up his service on Tuesday, this time with the Air Force Military Band. Now, he enlisted in August of 2023, and after nearly 1 year and 9 months, he returns to the spotlight with a strong resume, even during his absence. Now, his film, Exuma, or Pamyo in Korean, released during his enlistment, smashed the box office with over 10 million viewers. And in May, or this month, should I say, he showed up to the Baeksang Arts Awards in uniform and walked away with the Best New Actor Award.
Nice. I mean, many global fans also know him from the series The Glory, of course, which was also very popular. So congratulations to both men, and we hope to see them in action very soon.
Very soon.
Now, we're going to move on to news on one of the biggest K-pop girl groups, and literally a big girl group. We're talking about Triple S.
Yes, literally. So they might have a massive following, but they are on record the biggest female K-pop idol group in terms of members, with 24 members in total. So we're talking about Triple S have released their second full album called Assembles 25. Now, they're here to celebrate the release, and they held a showcase on Monday at Yongsan District in Seoul. Now, the album includes 10 tracks, one of which is called Wake Up, which was actually voted and selected through fan voting to become the title track of the album. Now, it's an alternative dance track with a message that acknowledges the world isn't always bright and perfect, but encourages awakening even within the darkness of the world.
Great meaning behind that song. Well, Walter, next time when we talk about the group, I might challenge you to name all of the names of the members.
Oh, geez, that will be a hard one.
Well, now the next news is not going to be a big challenge. You're going to mention a K-movie that's going to come out.
Yes, I always like mentioning K-movies. A press conference for the superhero action film High Five was held Monday at Lotte Cinema Kongguk University in Seoul. Now, director Kang Hyung-chol answered questions along with most of the cast members. Now, High Five is about 5 individuals who unexpectedly gain different superpowers through organ transplants, leading to chaotic encounters with those who convey their powers. Now, one of the cast members, Lee Do-hyun, shared her thoughts by saying, "I've always wanted to try action scenes, and the director kindly gave me this opportunity. I even threw a kick during our very first meeting." Now, High Five is scheduled for May 30th, so not too long now.
And apart from Lee Do-hyun, there's also An Jae-hong and Damiran featured in this one. And director Kang Hyung-chol, actually, he's very famous for Sunny and also Kwasok Scandal or Scandal Makers.
Yes.
So I'm really looking forward to this one. And high five to you, Walter, for those K-Enter news.
High five.
And stick around.
I'll see you very soon.
And now time to look at what our AI anchor Ari has for us next. Ari, take it away.
Hello and welcome to your AI guide to the latest cultural updates from Korea. Here's our top story. Korea's renowned conductor Jong Myung-un has been named the new music director of Teatro alla Scala in Milan, one of the world's most prestigious opera houses. He is the first Asian to hold a post in the theater's nearly 250-year history. Chung will succeed Ricardo Chell Lee in 2027 and serve through February 2030, aligning with the term of general manager and artistic director for Tsunado Orambina. Orambina proposed Chung's appointment to the board, which unanimously approved the decision. Since 1989, Chung has led 9 operas and 84 performances and conducted 141 concerts at La Scala, more than any conductor who has not previously served as music director. YouTube's most famous star, Baby Shark, has been invited to feature in Focus Art Fair New York 2025, a prominent contemporary art fair held annually in the U.S. city. Under the theme, "The Artists of the Future Are Our Children," the exhibition will spotlight 10 years of Baby Shark's remarkable global journey. Pinkfong, the company behind the most popular version of Baby Shark, says the exhibition will open this Thursday for a 4-day run, showcasing a range of multimedia displays and interactive content. The Baby Shark video, available in 25 languages across 244 countries, remains the most watched video on YouTube, with 15.8 billion views to date. Step into the magical world of Pixar at an immersive exhibition now open in Seoul. Hosted at the Seongsu Cultural Arts Center, the exhibition spans 3,300 square meters and features 12 imaginative spaces inspired by iconic Pixar films like Toy Story, Inside Out, and Coco. After successful shows in Europe and Latin America, it has already drawn more than 2.6 million visitors globally. Korea, chosen for its vibrant movie-going culture and passionate Pixar fanbase, is the first Asian country to host this event. It will run through June 29th. That's all from me. Keep it tuned to the Culture Wave.
Korean author Kang released a new book last month titled Light and Thread, or 빛과 실 in Korean, the first publication since winning the 2024 Nobel Prize in Literature as the first Asian woman in Nobel history. No surprise, it's become an immediate bestseller, while her previous works are also still flying off the shelves. Now today, we want to talk about the Nobel laureate and the ongoing post-Nobel boom with David Tizard, professor of Korean Studies at Seoul Women's University and Hanyang University, who is now connected with us online. Hello, Professor Tizard.
Hello, Professor.
Good afternoon. Great to see you both. Thank you for having me back again to talk about a wonderful subject.
Right, great to see you, Professor Tizard. Now, author Kang was mentioned a number of times during other topics we discussed. For instance, last time when we talked about culture on Jeju Island, that's how big of an impact she's been exerting. And you've read a number of her books as well, maybe all of them. So what about the new one, Light and Thread? What's it about and what do you think of it?
It's amazing that there is such focus on a Korean literary figure. Let me just start by saying that it's undeniable and it's well-deserved, the attention that Kang is getting. The spotlight is on her, but also Korean literature more broadly. And these are important works of literature that she has produced to date. Now, with Light and Thread, unlike any of her other work, maybe the White Book comes close, we're presented with a collection. This is not a novel per se, but it's previously published poems, essays, notes, even her Nobel acceptance speech is in there, Light and Thread. And it's thoughtful, certainly. It's meditative, but it's also somewhat scattered. The cohesion isn't there. So if you go into Kang, if people are hearing about her for the first time and they're trying to explore this wonderful storyteller, this wonderful excavator of Korean history and culture that's given readers all around the world so much to ponder and think about with her very unique voice, they might find this one a little bit of a struggle because of that lack of cohesion. Sometimes with artists, especially like Kang, you run the risk of having too much of a good thing. The mystique somewhat begins to dilute. That all being said, for anybody that does love Kang's work and her writing, and I'm one of them. This is just another thing to add to the ever-growing collection. And sometimes you want to embrace these readers, these writers as much as you can. You want to get every little bit of them, and that's what this latest collection, Light and Fred, does for us.
I'll have to agree with you on most of that you said regarding the new book, because I've just completed reading it, Light and Thread, and I thought it's great in a way that you learn more about the author herself, because much of it is memos or extracts of her journal. So if there is anyone who hasn't read Hangang yet, I would rather recommend Vegetarian, for instance, because that's where you can see more of her literary work, and that would be my recommendation to you, Walter.
Yeah, but also it is that sort of curse, you know, after you win the Academy Award, what is your next performance going to be? Is it going to be as good as your, you know, Academy Award-winning presentation? You know, the pressure is on for you to do the next best thing after you won one of the top prizes of that field. So the pressure is on for Han indeed. But obviously, this might be an easy question to answer, but Han's new book became a bestseller in bookstores, both offline and online, of course. Was this an expected result, do you think?
No, absolutely. When Hangang releases a book these days, she's no longer just a novelist, let's say. She's a daepyo. She's a national literary figure. And there's also, in this country, a real sense of pride in her achievements. There's sort of a collective literary solidarity that centers around her. So when she publishes something new, even if it's not a traditional novel, but rather a collection of essays, poems, and speeches, people pay attention. There's a cultural momentum behind her now, and bookstores stockpile her releases. Media outlets such as yourself often give her top billing, and readers all over the country and abroad as well, perhaps out of admiration, perhaps out of obligation, they buy her book en masse. And I think this is quite admirable, this national literary solidarity. And so while the sales were predictable, I do wonder about the reception of it. Light and Fred, as we've said, is more fragmentary. It's more introspective. Some might point to it being a little bit more indulgent, perhaps, because it doesn't offer that same narrative or emotional cohesion that former works did. And so while the patriot in me takes great pleasure in seeing a Korean author dominate these charts, the critic in me wonders, are we engaging with the work, or are we simply celebrating the author? Because there's a subtle but important difference between the two. And Walter mentioned that follow-up, that second album syndrome. How do you do that sophomore one? That seems to be part of it. And also part of me wonders on a personal level whether this is being pushed by publishing companies looking to cash in on these things, or if this is coming from Hangang's own desire to put more of her work out there herself. Because again, just like celebrating the work or the author, I think there's also a difference between those two perspectives.
And speaking of publishers, there was a surge in book purchases and readership ever since Hangang won the Nobel Prize back in October, and the Hangang effect has been blowing ever since. We've been experiencing open runs at bookstores, which we probably haven't seen in the past years. So can we say that the Hangang boom is revitalizing the bookstore and publishing industry in overall?
Yes, we absolutely can, because I spend a lot of time in bookstores and they're as busy as ever, despite what people might say. And this is a wonderful thing. It's not merely a media phrase, something that people throw about on television and social media. This is a phenomenon with tangible effects. There are lines at bookstores, there are spikes in sales, and a genuine curiosity about literature again. And that's something to be celebrated, especially in a society often dominated by tech and trends and test scores. On a personal level, as a professor that, you know, has to assign readings to students, Hangang helps me immensely, because I can point to the importance of literature and South Korea's achievements in this field. So thank you very much, Hangang, for that on a personal level. However, I will just say this, guys, while it's tempting to romanticize this as a literary renaissance, we should pause and ask, how deep is this revival? Are we witnessing a sustained engagement with literature, or is this just a momentary cultural selfie. Because it's one thing to have open runs at Kyobo Bookstore. It's another thing to actually have those books being read, discussed, and lived with. So I give all credit to Hangang and the country for responding in this way. It's a genuinely beautiful thing, but I wonder, is this a cultural movement that's going to last? Is it something more enduring? Or is it perhaps just this idea that people want to be seen with books, people want to show national solidarity to this writer? That's something that will only be answered in the years ahead as we see the effects of this Hangang syndrome and the phenomenon.
Yes, it's great to see people go back into bookstores when we all thought that, it's now the digital age and people are just going on their phones or their tablets. But let's go to back in March now when Gwangju Tourism Organization announced a pilot tourism program based on Hangang's book, The Human Acts, which deals with the May 18th democratization movement. Now, so the Hangang effect has had an impact not only on the publishing industry, but on many other sectors like tourism, it seems.
Yeah, and again, this is where the phenomenon, as I said in the previous answer, Walter, it becomes tangible and there are real effects of this. Something significant is happening. The Gwangju Tourist Organization's decision to base a program around human acts in Korean Sonyeonyeonda, A Boy Is Coming, is a testament to Hanggang's cultural power. But more importantly, from my perspective, it signals a shift in how Korea is willing to confront and communicate its past. It's not through sanitized slogans, cherry blossom festivals, and K-pop concerts. Not that there's anything wrong with K-pop and cherry blossoms, they're wonderful. But that Gwangju is willing to do this through the raw, unflinching lens of trauma and resistance. That's a brilliant thing because there's something deeply admirable about that. Gwangju is not a theme park. It's a scar in the nation's memory and history. Those three numbers that you've just mentioned, Oilpal, they've left a deep, tangible effect on this nation's collective psyche. So that they're willing to engage history and Hangang in that way, I think is, it's almost like Korea saying, this is who we are, fragile, brave, wounded, proud, and we won't shy away from it. And the country has Hangang to face for that because she has very bravely put a voice to Korea's past and its traumas. It's very easy to demonize those outside, but Hangang reminded us that sometimes the monsters are those within, and she did that so powerfully. Of course, as a professor, I should say there's a danger of this becoming commodified, turned into yet sort of another Instagrammable moment for people visiting Gwangju. But overall, if this is done right, the blending of literature, memory, and tourism, that could serve as a model for how other countries could also deal with their past, not by burying them, but by putting them on show, as Hangang has allowed us to do.
And finally, Professor Tizard, after Han's great achievement, the Korean government has increased its budget regarding translation and publishing, especially publishing abroad, and this to globalize Korean literature. So do you think the overseers, the view of overseers regarding Korean literature has changed? And also, is there a way we could, make Korean literature even more widely known abroad?
Yeah, absolutely. So Hanggang's victory with the Nobel Prize, it didn't just put her on the map. It shifted the borders of the map itself. Suddenly, Korean literature is not some niche curiosity or academic afterthought to be found in pages of esoteric journals. Now, Korean literature is at the center of a global literary discourse, and people want to know about it. And this affects how publishers select manuscripts, how readers approach translated fiction, and literary critics approach their reviews. Let's just say, though, this is very important that this didn't happen overnight. Hangang stands on the shoulders of giants. This is the result of years, even decades of quiet work by translators, publishers, and writers who all built up this collection for Korea to be where it is today. Hangang has sort of pushed the door wide open and stepped over the line, but there was a lot of work done by writers before that. The Korean government, as you said, it's now increasing its translation budget. That is the right move. and a good one, if you're serious about soft power, that's the thing to do. Perhaps what might be important is to go further, a diversity in what's being translated, not just award winners, not just soul-centric voices, but regional authors, experimental writers. I might also add male writers, because in the Korean literature field, there's a really kind of heavy focus on feminist literature, LGBT literature, and this is really good. This is amazing. Diversifying that, it will be the next challenge for them, but, you know, if Korea has shown us anything thus far, and Kang herself, that they are up for this challenge, and I'm so glad to see people reading again and talking about books on television.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Tizard, for sharing your thoughts on the Hangang effect with us today. And I can't help but notice that you mentioned patriotism frequently when we deal with culture. And I have to say, who isn't proud about K-pop being recognized in almost all corners around the world? But if we see that happening with K-literature in the years to come, I think that patriotism will rise another level. Well, thank you very much again for your thoughts and insights today.
Thank you, Professor.
Have a great day, guys. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
And thank you, Walter, as always. So we're going to see you back here tomorrow.
See you very soon.
Thank you for spending the past half an hour with us on the Culture Wave. Please join us again tomorrow on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Korea time, and maybe one day here in Korea.